Broadcasting from Now Media Network's headquarters in Houston, this is Purple Politics, hosted by political expert and commentator Alina Gonzalez Dockery. Join us to discuss the most important issues affecting our nation with fresh, balanced, and objective discussion on the first bilingual media network in the United States. Purple Politics starts right now.
Welcome to another episode of Purple Politics. I am your hostess, Alina Gonzalez Dockery, and we're just going to dive right into all of the legal actions that Trump is currently facing. And most importantly, we are seeing history being made today with the United States Supreme Court of the United States of America determining whether the Colorado action against Trump will keep him off of the ballots. This is a totally novel arguments, and new precedent is being made. So let's just get right into it. The crucial case is shaping Trump's destiny. The Supreme Court faces three pivotal cases that could significantly impact Donald J. Trump's presidential aspirations and his ongoing federal election subversion charges. These cases revolve around interpretations of constitutional and federal laws, potentially reshaping Trump's candidacy, trial timelines, yes, that's timelines, and the severity of charges against him. Key passages of the Constitution and federal statutes provide insights into the legal questions at hand. In Trump versus Anderson, the issue revolves around whether Trump's involvement in the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack disqualifies him from future presidency under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. The Colorado Supreme Court's ruling is pending before the Supreme Court review. The provision seemingly disqualifies those engaging in insurrection from holding office, but interpretation nuances and the absence of direct presidential references complicate this matter. United States v. Trump questions if a former president enjoys absolute immunity from prosecution for actions during office. Trump's assertion of such immunity has been challenged, with legal arguments centering on the impeachment judgment clause. The clause's language on indictment and punishment after conviction has become pivotal in understanding the scope of presidential immunity. In Fisher v. United States, the focus shifts to whether federal obstruction laws apply to Jan 6 defendants, which could impact Trump's election interference case. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act's provision invoked in Trump's case is under scrutiny, particularly regarding the definition of corruptly and the interpretation of obstructing official proceedings. The Supreme Court's ruling may have far-reaching implications for this prosecution of Jan 6 rioters and indirectly for Trump's legal battles. These cases underscore the complexity of legal interpretation surrounding Trump's presidential candidacy and his continuing criminal matters with the 91 felony charges that he has been indicted, both in the federal courts as well as state courts. The outcomes could redefine the boundaries of presidential immunity, the application of federal obstruction laws, and the repercussions of insurrection on eligibility for office. As the Supreme Court is prepares to deliberate after hearing arguments on Thursday morning on these critical matters, the implication for Trump's future in politics and the legal landscape surrounding his actions remain uncertain, awaiting judicial clarity. So let's begin navigating the legal quagmire that is all things Trump. And I'm going to try to provide you a comprehensive overview of this. Yes, this is a lot of legalese. Yes, it's a lot of going back and forth, but there has never been a time such as this. We have never seen so many cases against a former president who is also, for the most part, the front runner of the presidential primary for the Republicans. In today's political landscape, which is raucous and highly vitriolic, the notion of a former president facing significant legal challenges was once imaginable. However, Donald Trump finds himself entangled in a web of legal troubles, with 91 felony counts across multiple jurisdictions threatening potential prison time. Concurrently, he maintains his status as the leading Republican candidate for the presidency, despite efforts in several states to disqualify him from the race. The unfolding legal saga poses a unique scenario where Trump's campaign intersects with his legal battles. So we're going to start with the first case, or the first indictment, and that is in the state of New York. State of New York brought fraud allegations against Trump, his sons, and Allen Weisselberg, stemming from a scheme to manipulate property values for financial gain. This is a civil suit. This is not a criminal suit. That is very important to distinguish. This is a civil suit brought by the Attorney General, Letitia James, on a very arcane law that is on the state law books that has never really been brought forward, especially in this grand scheme. And Trump has already, in this non-jury trial, that is a trial before the judge, has already seen severe losses. But the ultimate potential loss to Trump would be financially. The penalties are $350 million, not an insubstantial sum, and also potentially losing the rights to be able to operate his businesses, which include the Trump real estate holdings, Trump Tower, Trump Hotel. Trump has another big building off of Wall Street. I mean, we're talking substantial real estate holdings and businesses in the state of New York, which include golf courses and such. Now we'll jump to the second and third civil lawsuits that Trump is currently either appealing or has just been concluded. Now, first of all, let me jump back to that civil fraud suit. So there was a motion for summary judgment. The judge found that, yes, Trump has conducted fraud because the judge has determined what the valuation of properties. Now, some are saying that this is definitely ill-advised let's face it, the judge has greatly undervalued much of the properties that Trump and his organization own, to include Trump Tower, saying that that was not worth, whatever, $100 million. It was only worth maybe 10, and to state that his property in West Palm Beach, Mar-a-Lago, which is acreages and miles of beachfront property to include an exclusive country club, hotel, golf course, is only worth $18 million. And I assure you, being a resident of Southwest Florida, there are smaller homes, much smaller mansions, McMansions, beachfront properties that are going for a lot more than that. So there is going to be an issue with that. However, right now it is just waiting on Enron to determine what are going to be the fines against Trump. So now we have his second suit, which he also lost, and that is the defamation lawsuit that was brought by author E. Jean Carroll. Now, E. Jean Carroll was instrumental in the legislatures of New York changing the laws to allow her to bring a lawsuit for sexual assault and rape against Donald Trump, dating back to 2019. He lost that case where the jury found him not to have raped her, but to be civilly liable for sexual assault. There was also a defamation suit or count added to that based on Trump, who is known not to be able to keep his mouth shut, stating that denying the allegations, but on top of that saying other things about Ms. Carroll. That resulted in a $5 million award being rendered. Then a second lawsuit, which just was decided, the liability aspect was just decided last week, wherein he was brought up again on more defamation allegations. And in those defamation allegations, he was, Jean Carroll was awarded an $83 million award, $63 million being punitive, which means that the punitive damages were that Trump, despite gag orders, despite rulings against him, that he conducted himself in an egregious manner, and the statements that he was making was continuing to be egregious. Again, Trump is his own worst enemy when it gets to him tweeting or Truth Social, or even his blatant statements. Again, this will be subject to appeal. So what the final number is, or whether this will be the final liability or hearing of these suits, is subject to be seen. Now let's go into more of the more serious issues, and these are the criminal indictments against Trump. We have two federal indictments. We have two separate federal cases going on. We have the case that is pending in Washington, D.C. circuit, which is actually his trying to obstruct the 2020 election results and overriding that. And then you had the Mar-a-Lago documents matter, which actually probably has the most teeth, but also has the most complexities due to the nature of the documents that are occurring. So we now have Mar-a-Lago document removal charges, which accused Trump of mishandling classified information upon leaving office, lying to the FBI as to their location, or even absolute refusal when the Department of Archives demanded the return of these documents to be done. Now, there is an added complexity to this, because Biden himself has been caught with confidential secret information that was being stored in private offices and in a garage next to a car. So it doesn't really look that good for either side when we have our current president that has held some, which is not being charged most likely for his keeping of documents from when he was vice president, but also there is the complexity. We're going to go delve into more of this after our next, after this commercial break, because we want to go into more about what is happening with our Supreme Court and the arguments that are going. So please tune back. I am Alina. I am excited, if you can tell, about talking about all things legal, especially as it is shaping our political environment and climate. So tune back here and we'll be right back.